Okay, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the fourth event in our Rice and series. My name is Karen Liu. I'm the Global Hub Manager, and today I'm so excited to collaborate with the African Studies program for this event. And Rice and is a programmatic series that is meant to showcase different cultural dishes from around the world that use the staple starch of rice in an educational and a DIY lens. So today you'll get to learn how to make Kenyan Pilau. And without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to Anna Maria.
Hi everyone, I'm Anna Maria. I'm the advisor in the African Studies program. Nice to see all of you. I am just here to introduce our two speakers that are both from Kenya. So let me first introduce you to Mercy Jamatia, who is a fellow in the African Studies program and is also a master's student studying in the School of Education. And then we also have Joyce Mutsoli, who is from Kenya, and she is our Fulbright teaching fellow. So she works on really getting to showcase Swahili culture and also is TAing in the Swahili classes. She's been in actually already several classrooms, US K through 12 classrooms here, and she is in Kenya. So because of COVID-19, she had to stay in Kenya, but she still continues to do outreach here. So we welcome them to the Rice and Kenyan Pilau event. Go ahead and take it from here.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today in this rice event. I'm going to share about the history of rice in Kenya and how different families prepare rice in Kenya. As we know, rice is the primary source of energy and the most important food crop in the world, which feeds more people than any other crop. So rice in Kenya is eaten alone in a great variety of soups, side dishes, and main dishes. So rice is not only a to-go dish when one needs to prepare a quick meal, but it can easily be turned into a special dish. So I'm going to go through the history of rice in Kenya. Can you please go to the next slide? So rice was introduced in Kenya in the year 1907 from Asia, and it is the third most important cereal crop after corn and wheat. It is grown mainly by small-scale farmers as a commercial crop and also a food crop. Most Kenyans living in rural areas consume limited quantities of rice, but it forms an important diet for the majority of urban dwellers. So the annual consumption of rate of rice in Kenya is 12%. The national rice consumption is estimated at 600,000 metric tons. Next slide, please. So high productivity of rice has really improved food security in Kenya, and it has also increased smallholders' income as well as contributed to creation of employment opportunities in Kenya. So there are several varieties of rice in Kenya. That is basmati, we have pishori, we have aromatic, we have jasmine, and also long grain rice. So I'm going to share several ways of preparing rice. In case you'll be interested to try it out, there's a recipe provided for all the methods that I'll be talking about. So I'll begin with boiled rice. So boiling rice is one of the easiest method for cooking rice, and majority of Kenyan people use this method of cooking. So there's a recipe in case you'll be interested. The next one is fried rice. And people prepare fried rice with different ingredients. For example, some people will be using vegetables, others will use meat or eggs. I think also fried rice is also a quick and delicious way to transform leftovers into something delicious. So the next is coconut rice. And this is mostly attributed to the coastal people of Kenya because of the availability of fresh coconuts in the coast. We also prepared a recipe for the coconut rice as well. Yes, and this is pilau. This is rice that is it's flavored with spices and cooked in a well-seasoned broth of meat. It is mostly served in special occasions in Kenya. It's also attributed to the coastal people of Kenya because of the availability of spices in the coast. I'm sorry. So Joyce will tell us more about pilau as she takes us through the cooking in a pre-recorded video. Thank you.
Thanks. And Mercy, I totally forgot to introduce Eli, but he's here with you.
Yeah,
So
I'm here with Eli.
We welcome him as well.
Thank you.
Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Joyce. Because of the time difference, I prepared the rice, the pilau in a pre-recorded video. Pilau is such an aromatic meal, and it involves the use of so many types of spices. There could be some spices which have been provided in the recipe, but there are more depending on the flavors you like. You can add as many as you wish. But for the few that I tried to use, they also just give the pilau the appropriate taste. What matters is your pilau must change the color. That is, your rice has to change from white to brown. So you must work towards achieving the brown color. So as you're preparing pilau, the basic thing that you're working towards is to make sure that your rice is achieving the brown color. And for the rice to achieve the brown color, you must just choose the right recipes that you want, and you cook your meat properly. So as you're going to watch my video, I just want you to pay keen attention to just maybe the spices, and you can maybe try out later. Maybe if you can get the spices at your own time, but the spices that I used are the ones that were available at that point. So when you're going through the recipe, do not feel limited like there isn't any other that you can use. There is still a whole variety of recipes that you can still try out. So I'll let maybe Drew or Lou play the video, and then maybe in case of any questions, we are free to answer at the end. So I went, because most Africans, or let me go the Kenyan way, most Kenyans use the traditional ways of cooking. Actually, I don't live in town, I stay in a village in Kenya, in a remote area called Kakamega. So do not be surprised that I wasn't using a gas cooker, because we don't use gas cookers in the village. We got the traditional way, and by the way, using pots is the best way to cook. Actually, we believe that when you're using the African pots, the meal will be very, very sweet, and it is true. It's very true, because number one, we got the traditional way to save the energy in the village, and then those pots are always readily available. But the people who are in town setups go for the gas. But for us, we cook the most traditional way, as you're going to see. Welcome all, and I hope you enjoy the video. So guys, welcome to my kitchen. These are my ingredients. On the far left, I have salt. And then next, I have a well-chopped capsicum, a piece of capsicum.
And then next we have coriander powder, and which you can substitute with the coriander leaves. And then here I have chopped tomatoes. There are actually 4. I chopped 4 because of the amount of rice I'm going to use, which is half a kg. Here I have oil, which you use substantially depending on the amount of rice you're using. And then again here I have 2 bulbs of onions, well chopped. Then here I have 1 bulb of garlic that I've already ground. If you do not want to use grounded garlic, you can go for the garlic powder, which is here. Here we have pilau masala, and that is where this rice gets the name pilau, because we use this pilau masala during the last stage to give it the final taste. And then we have chili powder, which is optional because we have who do not like chili, and then there are those ones who like using chili, so this one is more of an optional choice for most of us. And then here is my rice already washed, ready to be cooked. Then here I have banana leaves. These leaves are used during the last stage to cover our pilau so that it is dry, well dried enough before it is served. On my far right, I have a pot containing already chopped meat pieces, which have been cooked for about 45 minutes, just awaiting to be transferred to another pot where it will be fried. So guys, I've already placed my pot on the fire. This is the most traditional fireplace used in my country. So I'm going to add oil into my pot, and I'm just going to draw 2 spoonfuls. Remember, I told you I'm going to prepare 2 cups of rice and 1 kg of meat. So I've already added oil into my pot, so I'm going to give it time. So guys, I'm transferring my meat from this pot because it has got a little water. So I'm going to make sure that the meat that I'm transferring to the other pot that is on this other side has no water, so that I can place it in the other pot where I'm going to fry the meat. This pot that has oil. So now I have my meat ready in my pot. I'm going to stir so that it is well mixed with the oil. And I'm going to give it time so that it's well immersed into this oil. I'm going to continue stirring my meat until it turns brown. It is that brown color that my rice will have to get from this meat when it is already cooked. So do not stop until the meat is brown enough. So my meat is almost turning brown. So I'm going to add my onions and then continue stirring to ensure they are well mixed, and they continue heating together to achieve the same brown color. But you make sure you are maintaining moderate heat. So you continue stirring as you give it time, and you observe the way it is heating to ensure that it is going to acquire the complete brown color. Now the meat is brown enough. We can now add the tomatoes and continue stirring again. Make sure you stir well enough to make sure they are well mixed. Add some salt. At this point, you now start adding the other spices that will give your pilau the right taste. We are adding capsicum that we had already chopped. Then after adding capsicum, again you continue stirring so that you now have everything in your pot being well mixed. Then you also ensure that your heat is moderate enough. You just keep stirring to prevent the meat from sticking on the side of the pot, because at this point it is well cooked and very soft. After adding capsicum, at this point you add your garlic, your well ground garlic. Remember I said that you can use your ground garlic or you can go for the powder. So at this point I've opted for my ground garlic. Then I keep stirring again. I'm going to add 1 spoonful of pilau masala to my meat. Remember I told you that this is the mother of all that is going to give our rice the aroma. That aromatic smell that we need from pilau comes from pilau masala. So make sure that you're having the right measure depending on the amount of meat and the amount of rice that you're going to have. So for my case, I've opted for 1 spoonful because I just have 2 cups of rice. And I'm already feeling the smell. If you are here, you could be feeling it with me. Lastly, I'm going to spread these coriander leaves on top of my meat, and then I'm going to stir to ensure again it is well mixed with the other spices and the meat. Just keep stirring so that they are all well mixed. So guys, after giving the meat some time, like 1 or 2 minutes, I now want to add my rice to the meat. I said I had used 2 cups, so I'm going to add 2 cups of rice to my meat. And then I'm going to stir so that the rice and the meat are well mixed with all the spices that I've been adding. So keep stirring until you can see that your rice and your meat and all the other spices are properly mixed. So as you can all see, the color of my rice is now changing from white to brown. It is now achieving the pilau color that we have been trying to use the spices so that we can get to it. So you keep stirring so that your rice is now fully changed from white to the brown pilau color. After you are done stirring, it is now at this point that we are going to add water. Remember we used 2 cups of rice. That means we are going to add 4 cups of water. So now we've already added 4 cups of water. So all you do at this point is to stir. After stirring, you close your pot and you let the pilau to heat for close to 40 minutes under moderate heat. I've come back to check my pilau. As you can see, it's almost drying. So I'm starting to ensure that it doesn't stick on the pot. It's almost achieving the desired color that we want. You can, at this point, you reduce the heat. And you keep stirring. Okay guys, now that you can see that my pilau is now getting ready, it's taking some time. So I chose to prepare a dessert for my guests who are going to have this pilau. So I chose to go with preparing mandazi. Mandazi are Kenyan donuts that are prepared in a special way. So on my ingredient list, I have self-raising flour. Our self-raising flour has already been prepared just well enough to make me ready to prepare it without using so much ingredients, because they are well placed in that flour. And then here I have salt, and then I have sugar, I have 1 egg, and then I have a packet of milk, and then I have water here, then I have oil. So I'm going to prepare mandazi that will be used as a dessert after my guests have taken pilau.
Koroga.
My dough is ready. I'm going to roll it to give it a shape whereby I'll be able to get out my mandazi so that I can place it into the pot. So I'm going to use this tumbler to cut out small pieces from this dough, and then later on place them into the pot. So I'm going to place my mandazi. So give the mandazi some time, because they also have to acquire the brown color. Once you are sure that it has acquired the brown color, you turn so that they can also heat from the other side. So as you can see, the mandazi is now brown, and we can now get them out of the pot and place them on a plate ready to be served. So guys, it is as simple as I've just done it. Does not require a lot of effort to prepare this. So you can continue adding more dough into the oil in your pot. You can cut into any shape. And again, just like in the first procedure, give them time to heat and acquire the brown color. My pilau is almost ready. Now I'm going to use these banana leaves to cover it. This one will ensure that the heat is evenly distributed throughout the whole pot so that it dries from the top part to the bottom. Then I'll just give it some time and then I will withdraw the heat so that I just have mild heat. Being distributed across the entire pot. So welcome guys, my food is ready. We have our pilau, then we have kachumbari. We are going to serve this pilau hot and our kachumbari. I'm going to season salt on our kachumbari and then serve. So I'm serving the pilau. As you can see, it looks perfect. It achieved our desired color and it smells very aromatic. Just trying to ensure that I get all the pilau out of this pot. I'm now going to add the kachumbari. Welcome now, and for those ones who prepared the meal with me, let us now be ready to eat. Our pilau is ready, as you can see, and my guests are here. We just want to enjoy the meal. So for those ones who prepared the meal with me, you are ready to enjoy the meal. Bon appetit.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joyce, for putting together that amazing video. I'm sure all of us are super hungry now if we weren't hungry before. It looked delicious. I guess now if anyone has questions about how to prepare the pilau or any specific questions for either Joyce or Mercy, feel free to unmute yourself, or you can put it in the chat as well.
Okay, thank you, Karen. I would just like to emphasize that it's advisable to actually just have the meal from one big plate so that we are all eating. It's the traditional way of eating using our hands, and it emphasizes this communal, this togetherness, that we are sharing a meal together. And when you are sharing, you can see like my guests started talking, like saying, let us enjoy, let's enjoy this meal. It was in our native language, but all they were saying is that now let's fill our stomach, let's have the meal. So we don't use spoons to eat that. Pilau is just served and we use our hands to eat, and we just make stories when we are eating to just emphasize togetherness of just living in a communal setup.
I had a question. So for the pilau dish, like the beef pilau, I think Mercy might have said sometimes you prepare that for special occasions. Is it more of like a special occasion dish, or is it like sort of like a regular dinner or lunch meal?
Most of the time, like if you are attending a wedding, you'll hear most people say, I'm just going to eat pilau. Like there is no complete wedding without pilau, mostly weddings. But I would say that mostly weddings or any special occasion. But for families that can really afford, like Mercy mentioned that most Kenyans do eat boiled rice because it's the cheapest. You boil rice and you take it with the tea as breakfast. But for those families that maybe come from maybe families that were well endowed financially, they'll have to prepare pilau once in a while, maybe if they're having family gatherings again. So again, it just takes us back to a situation whereby it is a meal that is prepared when there is some kind of an occasion. But very few families will prepare it for just a normal meal, maybe as dinner or as lunch.
I just wanted to add on what Joyce has said. Mostly, I said that the pilau is mostly prepared by the people who live in the coastal Kenya because they can easily access the spices. So most of them prepare, they can eat more frequently than the people who are not in the coastal Kenya.
Yeah, and I remember Dr. Potter had posed a question to Mercy asking if there are other spices that Mercy uses. I don't know if Mercy, you got that question. There was a question in the chat if there are other spices and I just, like aforementioned, I said that you can use as many spices as you can, as long as you have your own priority and taste of spices. You can go for carrots. I think I didn't use carrots. So you can use as many, a range of many spices as you wish, depending on your taste.
Yeah, I think also with the availability of the spices that you have at hand by that time, but the must spice that you have to actually use is pilau masala, but you can add any other spices that you have.
Do you typically get the pilau masala like it's already made, or can you make it yourself, like with combining different spices?
You can go to the supermarket and you'll get one that is already packed in a plastic bottle, or you can go to just where some traditional women sell those kind of spices, and you'll get one, and maybe they'll do some kind of a measure for just some little pilau for you. So I think there is one that is sold in stores, in supermarkets, that is kind of different from the one that is sold just locally, again, from just the marketplace. So there are two ways, but we always, the point is we just get when it is already prepared. Like you just go to the store and you're getting pilau masala that is already prepared.
And is it typically made with beef, or do other families like use other meat or protein with it, or is it beef?
Actually, you can use pork, you can use chicken. Yeah, I only just opted for beef, but you can have chicken, pilau. You can use either.
In Kenya, do you always eat from one plate? Like the whole family?
Mostly because even our staple food, ugali, the one that we prepare from maize flour, like we eat from one plate. It's just when we are sitting around like this and everybody's using his or her own hand to pick ugali and you're eating. So typically we just always share a meal together using our hands. That's why it's always maybe hard for people like Mercy who come and they see some chopsticks and they have to learn how to use them, because I always even wonder if I get there, like I want to eat using my hands because I've been doing it all my life.
Oh.
So we just use our hands all through when we are eating.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have other questions? I dropped the PDF that has the beef pilau recipe and then also the different ways to prepare rice that Mercy mentioned at the beginning of the event. So feel free to download that document and you can try it for yourself. I saw some conversation in the chat. You can purchase pilau masala on Amazon. If you don't want to use Amazon, there are different Etsy sellers that also sell the spice. And I think I saw when I Googled it, you can also get it at Walmart, apparently. So there are places in the States where you can get it if you want to try it yourself. Any other questions? I'm curious about the sweet dessert you made. Is it always served as a dessert, or can you eat it like, do you eat it for breakfast sometimes, or just like a snack, or is it typically just a dessert food?
Actually, mostly it's served for breakfast with tea. Ana Maria was talking of chai yesterday. So it's mandazi and chai. Mandazi and chai for breakfast.
I think it's interesting, like the comparison, like when we're talking about rice globally, you know, because I see like that rice pilau is kind of similar to like a biryani from India, or I'm trying to think of what it's called in Arabic, but there's another rice dish that's very similar in Arabic. I think it's like upside down or something. They put a little more vegetables in it, but it is so fascinating. I mean, upside down in English, but you know, in Arabic is the word. But it's just fascinating to me how we do have these similar rice dishes and just a little bit of different spices or a different way of cooking it. But it is very interesting. So thank you. Thank you, Joyce and Mercy. Really, I mean, so educational, really wonderful. So, and that you made it into a video. Hopefully we can use the video for years to come to educate other people, because just watching you with the fire, I mean, when I saw those flames licking up, I don't know if anyone else felt that, but I was like, you're going to burn your thigh, you know? So I was kind of concerned. And you said in the chat that it's not even, it's you're not even afraid of getting burned. So I would just think it would be so hot and with all that fire. But it was so interesting when you talked about turning down the flame, because all I know is how to turn down, you know, my stove. Here you are taking wood out or putting wood in, and that is just so interesting to me. So thank you.
Yeah, because we grow around the fireplace and that is all we know and you're used to it. So you can't just be afraid around the fireplace, because that is where you've grown seeing your mom prepare all the meals. So you get used to the heat. So it's no longer a problem. Like you'll be told, go and moderate the fire. So like all the flames are up and you're supposed to pull some firewood out so that you can get, and the smoke. My friend from Kenya just reminded me about the smoke. Like you had me sneezing most of the time. Like that is just unavoidable. So you keep, like, the smoke is up and you have to just make sure the food is ready. People are waiting for that meal. You can't complain, and then you get used to it. So you keep doing it repeatedly, and then it becomes a norm. So I'm just hoping like people will watch and you'll be able to prepare the meal and even send me photos of your own prepared pilau, because like it actually won't take a lot of time, because now you'll be even using maybe different forms of cooking. Maybe you use a gas cooker, so it's easy to switch on, switch off, and then have it prepared, and then maybe just send some feedback if it was aromatic enough. I've seen people saying that you can order pilau masala from Amazon. So once you get that, I would wish to get some feedback. And then I would also like to really thank the African Studies Department for just making this happen. Like, as you can see, we have Kenyans, there is Josie, there is Valerie Wambesa is my niece.
Yeah.
I invited her to join, so she's my niece. Then Josie Mtisia is also a Fulbrighter at Notre Dame University. Then John Marie Polycarp is a friend of mine. So then there is one, Victor Odero is a colleague of mine in school. So they also get excited, like they just wanted to see what happens. Then I was like, I asked for permission from Karen, and Karen says it was no big deal. So they had to join and just see maybe what Joyce does on Zoom every day. And I'm so glad that they were able to join, and I'm so glad the African Studies team had to organize this. So thank you very much too.
Yeah, thank you, Joyce, for all the work you put in. The video looks amazing. I know when we all watched it ahead of time, we were like, oh my gosh, like the quality, the editing, like it's really fantastic. I had one, I guess, last question in the chat. Lynn asks, do families develop their own special versions of pilau that are passed down through the generations as a signature dish?
Yeah, just the way Mercy mentioned earlier that there are different types of spices. I think depending on the range of spices, then different families will have their own different versions of spices. So because it's like, and if you're going to serve it with kachumbari, I went for tomatoes and I went for onions. Another person will go for something else, so that maybe someone can go for carrots, someone will go for maybe the coriander that I was spreading, someone else will choose to have it raw. So people use different spices to just have that signature pilau for their group. Like the pilau that is prepared within the coastal area, you won't get that pilau in Kakamega, now my region. It's quite different because for them they access a large variety of spices, so it may smell differently. At the same time, mine will also smell differently as long as it is pilau, but theirs is of a higher quality. But for us in other different areas, maybe if you go to another region again, you'll get that they prepare it differently. So the bottom line here is just the spices that are used, so that if I'm going to use these spices all along, that is what is developed in my culture. So we continue doing that, like every time there is an occasion and you're calling. In fact, most of the time we have specific people. You'll just hear somebody saying, if you want to prepare pilau, then call somebody, because they know that this is the person that prepares it, like most of the time, and it is prepared very well if it is done by that particular person. Yeah.
Do we have any other questions?
I just have a question to like most of you. Do you think it was easy preparing it and you can do it?
I think so.
Forget about the smoke and the heat. Forget about the smoke and the heat. Like, do you think you can do it?
I can do it on my stove. I don't think I could do it on the fire like you did.
Manuel, I didn't make it seem easier. It is actually easier. Just the way you've seen it, it is that easy. It is that easy.
I think it would take a couple tries to get it right.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it looks delicious. I think once, if you can get all the ingredients and the right spices, yeah, I can't wait to try it.
Okay.
Okay, well, if we don't have any other questions, then I guess we'll wrap it up here. If anything else comes up that you think of later, feel free to email me or the rest of the African Studies team, and we can always contact Joyce and Mercy and see if we can answer for you. I sent the recipe in the chat. I'm going to send it one more time for folks that might have joined a little bit later. But feel free to download that and try it yourself. And then this meeting was also recorded, so we'll probably post it on the Global Hub website, and maybe African Studies will post it too. So if there's something that you missed and you want to go back to it, you can. But yeah, I just want to thank everyone for attending. This was really great. I had a lot of fun watching Joyce and learning about how to prepare the dish, and it really looks delicious, and I'm starving now. So I will need to eat something immediately after.
Okay,
All right.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Wow.